as we see these now, the two pacemakers in the men's race, with Owen Kapkama going with them. Now, I don't know if he's shouting at them. They're both Kenyan, but he's a little gap over the back there. He is, as I said, just 19 years old. Between these two. The best coming in Naples. But he's very inexperienced, and I just hope his enthusiasm doesn't get the better of him here. He should probably sit back with the more experienced racers like Quizera. This is a 21-kilometer race, remember. It's over 13 miles, and it can come and bite you in the tail end if you go out too hard, if you don't judge your effort right. And I do sort of feel as though Kapkama would be better off sitting back in that pack of what, about 8 athletes behind, 8 or 9 athletes behind. In that pack is Quizera, of course, and Tadesse Worku, Gebreselassie, Cosmas Wangi Boy, James Kipkoge Koech, Kipkoech with a best of 59.50, and Calipus Lomwai, who has a best of 59.56. Indeed, there's 7 athletes in this field with bests under 60 minutes. But these pacemakers being urged on at the moment at a breakneck speed by Kapkama. He's from Kapengoria in Kenya. His coach, Edward Moti, I'm sure will be watching this with a great interest and maybe a little bit nervous that his young lad has gone out so aggressively through these almost kilometers on the clock now. In fact, just over 3 kilometers on the clock now. It's just adjusted. But here they go. They are moving now on the eastern side of the river, the Vltava. There it is. That's the Charles Bridge in the background, right of picture. It is one of the most beautiful bridges in the world, the Charles Bridge. It's a 14th century bridge built in the 1300s, lined with statues of Catholic saints. It is quite magnificent. I remember being lucky enough to walk across it about 40 years ago and buying some little oil paintings, watercolor paintings, which hang on the walls of my apartment. It is one of those cities you don't want to forget. It's nice to be reminded that human beings can build something so incredible, and it survives war and all sorts. Much of Central Europe, the Czech said to the Germans, "No, you come on through. We don't want our city destroyed. We don't want it flattened like so many others." And so it remained in very good shape, Prague, unlike many cities around it. Resistance was the lack of resistance was the best policy at that time. Well, in the women's race, you can see there to right of picture, looking very, very comfortable now. The pace seems to have settled down a little bit. Caroline Gitonga, and she's got there's the pack to the extreme right of picture, you can see the second women's pack, what, about 50 or 60 metres down behind Caroline Gitonga and that pacemaker John Minor Dirangu. Also there is the top Czech male Jan Frisch, and I'd like to have seen him moving a little bit quicker than that, because they're moving probably at around 65-minute tempo. He's the extreme left of picture there in the dark kit. He did say to me yesterday, I have a small pitter-patter stride which doesn't really lend itself to road racing. He's in that dark strip beside the pacemaker Dirangu. Hunched shoulders there on the part of Gitonga. They have gone out incredibly aggressively. 4K pass at the front end of this race, so the point less than 3 minutes away. The women at 3.7 at 4.1k. You can see top left of your screen that blue number 4.1k changes to pink when we're on the ladies, 3.7k for the ladies. So they're about 500 meters down already. The leading lady there, Caroline Gitonga. Marathons last year did Caroline Gitonga. She won in Drammen in Norway in 68 minutes. That was back in September, and then she won in Ravenna, setting that personal best was 66.26 back on the 9th of September. A couple of really good races from her. Comes from Meru in eastern Kenya, about 150 kilometers north of Nairobi, and she tends to win a lot whichever distance she runs, whether it's 10k or half marathon. I was going through her card last night. Gitonga doesn't lose very often, and it looks like, at the moment at least, left her picture there, she's heading for a win here today, because that women's pack, well, it is behind her, but I think it's gaining on her. I think it's closed a little bit. It's only about 30 meters down now. It was 50 or 60 meters a few minutes ago. And the men's field, well, they're at 4.5 kilometers, and still the relatively inexperienced 19-year-old Kapkama tucked in here behind the two pacemakers. He's following them as if he's tied them by a piece of string, with that main pack of about 8 athletes 30 meters down. We're about a minute away from the 5-kilometer point, so it's going to be something around 14 minutes from the men's race. And if they're on 59 minutes pace exactly, they want to go through in 14 minutes. If they want to go down towards 58.20 there or thereabouts, they need to go through 5k in about 13.50. But I think this is sensible running from the pack. They're not desperate to go with these pacemakers. They won't want Gitonga, Kapkama rather, in third place. They're behind these two pacemakers to build a lead of any real substantial length. They won't want to get 30 or 40 seconds away, but 5 or 10 seconds at this stage of the race is perfectly okay. Kapkama, well, Moti, his coach, will have his heart in his mouth watching this, I'm sure. He's a Manchester United fan, is Kapkama, the 19-year-old there between them. Owen on his bib, Owen Korea Kapkama, and the United showing some pretty good form recently. So I wonder if that's got his tail up, so to speak. Last year he ran just a 10k, a domestic 10k in Kenya in 32 minutes, but of course that was at about 7,000 feet. And then 3 cross-country races did Cap Karma. The masses, well, there's still many thousands of them waiting to cross the line patiently, even though the elite, the first gun went off almost 15 minutes ago now. Just waiting for the men's time at 5k. There it is, 13:52. 13:52 for the men at 5k. That is nice and quick, and the pack 5 minutes, 5 seconds down. That's Cap Karma and the 2 pacers at 5k. 13 is super quick, let me tell you. That puts him on schedule for about 58:30, and that would represent a personal best by over a minute. I don't know how long these pacemakers can keep going, but the idea of pacemakers, you can see pacer 1, pacer 2 on these bibs left of the picture, is to set up a nice steady rhythm, take the burden of running at a hard tempo from the front off the elite athletes. And if they can get to sort of 10k, something like that, in what, around 27:40, 27:50, that would set it up very nicely indeed. The target at 10k, incidentally, if they keep running 2:46 per kilometre, which is about what they're on, is 27:44. Now that is world-class racing for 10k, and it's not even halfway. So a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of these 2 pacemakers then. Pacer M1 to the left of the picture there is Rogers Blimo Minutum. Pacer M2 to the right is Andrew Kiptu Kiprop. And that pack, that men's pack, just easing along nicely. They're almost using this leading trio as a gauge for their own tempo, which is okay. You don't ideally want a pacemaker 30 or 40 metres ahead of you, but that it's a lot better than nothing. Right of picture, well, she's gradually forging a bit of isolation for herself, isn't she? Caroline Makandi Gitonga. Says she relaxes by watching movies, and she loves music. She's single, but she has a child of 4, does Caroline Gitonga. And her one race this year was a wing in Castellon back in late February, about a month ago. I'll talk about that in a minute when we get back to Gitonga. Here's the situation in that men's race. Now, they have gone out very aggressively, and that's a good thing, because don't let's forget that a new world record pending ratification was set just a few weeks ago in Lisbon by Jacob Kiplimo, who ran 50:20. That was on the 8th of March, just a couple to go. Kiplimo of Uganda, and his first 5k insanely quick. Get this, in the Portuguese capital he ran 13:28 for his first 5k. He went through 10:27 flat. 27 minutes. I mean, there's not many people on the planet who can run faster than that for 10k in a race, never mind about before halfway in a half marathon. But Jacob Kiplimo is a very special talent. Won the World Cross Country in Tallahassee back in early January. Here's the chasing pack though. Rodriguez. A picture in the purple just behind Samuel Samuel Masai, the 25-year-old. He ran 58.59 to come 5th in RAC, the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon, back in the middle of February. That was a fabulously fast race. He won in Hamburg in June last year in 61 minutes. Huge personal best. Al Khaimah, about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Now here's the chasing pack in that women's race, and it includes Cynthia Chepkwony. She has best of 67. A tall figure there in the front. 2 half marathons last year. She won in Krems in Austria. And then she set that personal best in Lisbon back in October. And look at the gap here now. This is great. Tour de France style. We're ripping away from that chasing trio to the leader, Caroline Gitonga. There she is. And she's got a gap of, what would you reckon that is? 60 meters. And she's built for it, isn't she? Long and lean. Great power to weight ratio. So lean up top. And the pacemaker, Dirangu, looking very calm and relaxed too. In fact, they're both very similar build. He's just about 1.3 times the size of her. But she has gone out very aggressively indeed. It's 5K time. Sorry about that. If it came up on screen. Saw it and I didn't. But she, I'm sure, has gone out fast here. If she's anything like what, 15:30 for the first 5. She's on schedule for something in the middle. Owen Kapkama gradually being reeled in now by that chasing pack. You've got to admire his aggression and enthusiasm, but probably the wisest words that could have been whispered in here. Minutes to go before the gun would have been respect the shadow somebody like Quizera. There's that U-turn in the men's race. That's at 7K. That's the southernmost point of the course at just past 7K. Now they've left-hand U-turn and they're heading northwards now with the Flattar.